Mathys Tel was one of the most sought-after players in the January transfer window. Almost all the Premier League elite made moves for him in this window, from Arsenal to Man United, Chelsea, Spurs and Aston Villa. He ended up moving to Spurs on a loan deal with an option to buy on deadline day, even though he had initially rejected them. It seems someone had to tell Tel to teleport to London ASAP. Bars. But what is really so special about him? Why exactly was this dude, who was barely starting games at Bayern Munich, being chased by all these heavy hitters in England? Well, we'll tell you in this video. This is why Mathys Tel is perfect for the Premier League. Well, first of all, for those who don't know him, Tel is a 19-year-old French forward player who was one of the biggest prospects out of France a couple of years ago. He moved to Reims in 2020 and became the youngest player to ever play a senior game for the club, a record previously held by Eduardo Camavinga. When he was just 17 years old, Bayern Munich signed him for 28.5 million euros, and not long after, he made history yet again by becoming the youngest player to ever score a goal for Bayern Munich in a competitive game. He would also go on to become the club's youngest ever scorer in the history of the Bundesliga. He was just 17 years old, but it was already obvious that this kid was a star. But with Bayern having a very stacked squad, he unsurprisingly has struggled for game time. We're talking about a team that has attacking options like Kane, Musiala, Coman, Gnabry, Sane and Müller. Of course, it would be difficult for a teenager to break into the first team, but even with limited game time, he makes sure to make an impact whenever he gets the chance. Last season, he started just 6 Bundesliga games and played a total of 1,023 minutes, an equivalent of little more than 11 full games, but he was directly involved in 12 goals for the club. But it's more than just the numbers, you know. Tel is also a pure entertainer. In the 2023-24 season, he was the 6th best dribbler among forwards in the Bundesliga, and this is despite starting only 6 games. For context, he completed 13 more dribbles than Harry Kane, who started 26 more games in the same league. That is how impressive his dribbling is. He's also pretty quick. And as you know, dribblers and runners always thrive in the Premier League. Look at the likes of Kudus and Doku right now, or Hazard in the past. So many teams in England love to play low blocks, especially against the bigger teams. So a dribbler will always be highly valued. And against the bigger teams where there is more space, his pace will be very useful. Tel is also really strong and technical, which are qualities that are great for Premier League forwards. As you know, the Premier League is a very physical league. So to succeed as a forward, you have to be aggressive and agile. And it's an added advantage if you're good in tight spaces. Tel is all of those things. He's also a really smart player who's always making intelligent runs. With players like Kulusevski, Maddison and Son behind him at Spurs, we're pretty sure that these runs will be picked out very often. Remember when he came off the bench against Man United in the opening game of the 23-24 Champions League season? He came in just 3 minutes to the end of the game, but he was able to make one of those brilliant runs into the box, get to the end of a pass, and score a brilliant goal which turned out to be the winner. Before even moving to England, he was already performing against the Big Six. This is why everybody wants him. And yes, Tel has goals, assists, intelligence, dribbling, aggressiveness, and technicality in his arsenal, but perhaps his biggest asset is his versatility. He regularly plays anywhere across the front line, 9, 10, 7, 11, he'll do a good job for you, but he can play in even more positions. Did you know that he actually started his career as a centre back? With the way that injuries seem to be ravaging the Spurs defence, if Ange needs him to, we're sure he'd even be able to put in a good centre back shift. Having a player you can move around different positions without any significant drop in their performances is highly valuable. It allows the coach to be tactically flexible, and a player like that will always come in handy when there are injuries in the squad. Oh, and this kid seems to have a thing for scoring golazzos. This right here is a forward made for the Premier League. And don't take our word for it, some of the brightest minds in the sport have had nothing but the best things to say about Tel. Thomas Müller called him a superb finisher. Julian Nagelsmann said that he has what it takes to score 40 goals in a season. And Thomas Tuchel also complimented his good finishing. This is the kind of talent that we're talking about here. And don't forget, he's just 19 years old. He's only going to get better better and better. You know, one more reason why we say Mathys Tel is perfect for the Premier League? Because he's French. Skillful and silky French players often do well in the English top flight. From Thierry Henry to Eric Cantona to Robert Pires and Nicolas Anelka. This is the league for entertaining Frenchmen, and we could really see Tel enter into that elite league. Yes, his move to Spurs is only a loan deal, but with the option to buy and the way he was heavily pursued by top clubs in England in January, we won't be surprised if his stay in the country extends beyond the summer. But for now, let's focus on his loan spell at Spurs. How do you think it will go for him? Will he be a success, or would he just be another random player in the league? Tell us what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so that you never miss out on amazing content like this. We'll catch you